Has come to Cleveland this day with a vengeance, but the Cleveland Browns are the home team and having trouble functioning in it as they've had all those turnovers. Marty Schottenheimer said before the game that he thought it would turn on emotion, but really the mistakes of Strock throwing the ball have taken the emotion out of the crowd and maybe out of his team largely.
Don, you're right. I think the Cleveland Browns were very, very impressed with the performance of Don Strock last Monday night down in Miami. And I think they felt that coming into today that he had some magic to him. But the Houston Oilers in the first half did a great job of disguising coverages. He threw 3 interceptions right into coverage, and then the fourth fumble, the fourth turnover was that fumble. It was not really his fault, but I think if Marty Schottenheimer's got a Gipper speech, he used it just a few minutes ago.
All of that. He had summoned George on that deathbed.
I mean, anything that you can possibly imagine to encourage this team, because they are still within striking distance with all of the problems they had, and they're still in the game. But again, I've preached so many times when we're doing these games that the opening drive of a game or a half is so important. And now I think Cleveland's on the field defensively first. They need a turnover right now.
I tell you, Houston's done a great job. They lost one that led to a touchdown, but Warren Moon has been absolutely superb today. You can't overestimate his value in the final outcome of this game. He's been tremendous.
And, Don, when you consider that basically the Cleveland Browns game plan defensively has worked, shut down the run, make Warren Moon throw the ball. He's done it, and he's thrown like he's playing down in the Astrodome. The weather has been no particular problem. The only problem that he had was an assignment mistake by someone that allowed Dave Grayson, a linebacker, to hit him right in the chest. He's played spectacularly in the first half.
Well, as we were mentioning earlier, he's been in days a lot worse than this in Edmonton. He's a Los Angelino from Hamilton High School in Los Angeles. Don Strock, who spent 14 years in Miami, that's a fond and distant thought in his mind right now. Miami, Florida.
Yeah, and Don, I got to tell you, this has nothing to do with the weather. It is simply misreads by Don Strock, in my estimation, that have produced these 3 interceptions that he's thrown in the first half. The Houston Oilers have done a great job of confusing exactly what he's looking at. Strock's thrown it right to open men.
This kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. And kicking off his bar, he drills it downfield. It's picked up by an up back. Alan Pinckett leads his way across the 20 and out to the 26-yard line. So as the winds blow and the snow falls at Cleveland, the Oilers send out their offense, which helped build a 16-7 first-half lead.
Now, the #1 priority for the Houston Oilers here is in the early stages of this second half, protect the football. And for the Cleveland Browns, think turnover. They've got to start taking some chances defensively to get the ball and get the ball in a hurry.
Moon, 6'3", 210 pounds, out of the University of Washington, former Rose Bowl MVP, pitches back. Running hard is Mike Rozier. Not a lot of footing or yards on that carry as on a first down. Rozier gets close to the 27-yard line. Dave Grayson was on the stop along with Michael Dean Perry.
Watch Clay Matthews, the Pro Bowl linebacker. This is one of his greatest strengths, running down plays or being there to assist on the tackle from behind. You have to account for Clay Matthews in every offensive plan that you design.
Matthews in his 11th year out of Southern California. The #1 draft choice of the Cleveland Browns, and he gets better every year, it seems. He's bigger than ever, 245 pounds, and as fast as he's ever been. Rozier gets running yards on a second down and long 8 play. He runs the ball close to the 30. That'll bring up third down and about 6. As maybe Trump, the Oilers are looking to take time off the clock if they can, with a 9-point lead and the weather worsening.
And certainly protect the football. They don't want it thrown up, exposed for an early pickoff to put emotion back on the side of Cleveland. I mean, generally speaking, the stadium is quiet. Houston's got things going pretty much their way. Watch this direct snap now to that up back Highsmith.
Right, they sometimes go to the blocker. This time they go right to Warren Moon. Throwing on third down, he makes the connection for a first down as the ball is out to the 41-yard line to Drew Hill. Stephen Braggs was covering on the play as best he could, but not many people can cover Drew Hill, who now has 70 receptions for the season.
Now, you got to think with this lack of pass coverage by the Cleveland Browns today, they really miss Hanford Dixon. Generally speaking, this is a very, very tough defensive backfield. Lots of man-to-man coverage, but I've seen an awful lot of zone today. I don't think Cleveland really likes to play zone. They prefer that man-to-man. Houston's had receivers open all over the field.
Frank Minifield said yesterday he thinks the defenders, particularly in bump and run like Cleveland plays, have the advantage because they can't stutter step the receivers without losing their footing. That has not been the case. First down, the give is to Alonzo Highsmith, who was a key player with Bernie Kosar of the Browns in that national championship team at Miami of Florida.
We just featured Clay Matthews. How about little brother Bruce? Does a good job. That's called a double and rub. You help on the nose tackle, 79 Golick, bounce off, and get a little block on Junkin.
Darrell Sims, Bob Golick, and Carl Hairston across the defensive front of Cleveland. Warren Moon sets his team now. Second down and 7. Give it just a bit. Here is the throw downfield to Ernest Givens, indeed, and he's down to the 42-yard line. That's picked up, and a delivery right over the middle for 15 yards as Warren Moon, poised and strong of arm, continues to move the ball in the bad weather against Cleveland.
On whatever the Miami Dolphins did to this Cleveland Browns pass defense last Monday night in Miami, I think the Houston Oilers have taken a page from Don Shula's playbook. There are receivers open. There's time for the quarterback to throw. And Warren Moon's had no problems finding those guys.
Hill and Givens are small but so quick, running those crossing patterns. They just start away from the coverage, and Moon is right there. Now they go back to the run, and Rozier powers his way on a first down carry inside the Cleveland 40-yard line and down to the 38. Tackle on the play made by Michael Dean Perry and by Bob Golick.
One of the things that you can certainly pick out is this offensive line of the Houston Oilers really controlling this line of scrimmage. And this time Bruce Matthews does an excellent job with a little help from Steinkühler. Michael Dean Perry, 92. Doesn't quite finish the block, but gets him off the line of scrimmage, and Rozier picks up 8 yards.
Second down, they need 7. Here's the give. It's Rozier again, running hard to the 35-yard line. And that'll bring up third down and 4 as Mike Johnson, inside backer 59, made the stop. And Rozier, who just went over 1,000 yards for the first time in his NFL career,
may not know
getting up. Yeah.
They're going to have to tell him later.
5'10", 200 pounds, and he hits like a rocket. That time he got dinged, but usually if you don't hit Rozier, he hits you. With 10:56 to play in the third quarter, the Oilers feeling good about things, and well, they should, leading 16.
This game is brought to you by Coors Light. There's no slowing down with a silver bullet. It's the right beer now. By the heartbeat of America, today's Chevrolet. And by the U.S. Armed Forces, it's a great place to start.
Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy at Cleveland Stadium. Snowfall has picked up. Chill factor well below 0, but the Houston Oilers functioning very well in their first cold weather game in 3 years. Moon stands in. They're taking care. Look at that throw down the field to Alonzo Highsmith. And he's down to the 7-yard line. Lost the ball, but got it back.
Down on contact. The official was motioning wildly. The ball was hit on the ground.
Ruling is done by contact. The whistle blew. First down.
What a beautiful throw, and on the dead run, Highsmith takes it.
Felix Wright makes the hit. The ground cannot cause a fumble. And when he hits, the ball pops loose. On Warren Moon, look here. Highsmith is about the 3rd receiver in the progression. You see, flat-footed, he throws it there late. Mike Johnson, 59 in coverage. This has been one of their best performances of the season. 2 weeks in a row now. Last week against Cincinnati, today against Cleveland.
28-yard gain. Throw off the hands of his intended receiver, Drew Hill, on a slant goalpost pattern. The ball comes in low and incomplete. That'll bring up third down. second down from the 7-yard line.
Moon's completed 12 passes on the day, and 7 have been to the wide receivers and 5 have been to the running backs. That last one to Highsmith, a beautiful job by Warren Moon. Waited, looked around. Now the 10th play of this drive, the opening drive of the second half. I'm telling you, the the Houston Oilers are playing the best football of any team in the AFC at this point, going into the playoffs. This is a sensational performance by Houston.
Warren Moon says the QB has to be like a good point guard in basketball and disperse the ball to everybody. He's been doing that today. This time a pitchback to Alan Pinkett is shut down. Mike Junkin, number 54, came in to make the pop.
This Houston offense has taken the emotion out of the defense. Oh.
The Giants are a wild card team in the National Conference, even if they lose, but they would not win the division if Philadelphia continues and beats Dallas today. Third down and goal from the 8-yard line. Timing pattern into the end zone, and Haywood Jeffries comes down with the ball. There's a marker down in the end zone, away from where the ball was caught. Could be an interference call. Jeffries goes up for a timed throw by Warren Moon and comes down with the ball, but now we have to see what the penalty is. Looks like it's going to go for 6 for Houston.
They're certainly conferring. Now, it's interesting, this Haywood Jeffries, you get Drew Hill and Ernest Givens. Here's the call.
The yellow flag that was down in the field came from the stands. 6 points.
You're joking. Jeffries' first NFL touchdown, and Givens and Hill are about 5'9". You bring in Jeffries, he's about 6'2", 6'2.5", and he goes over Will Hill on a pass that's intentionally underthrown to make the catch.
I'll tell you though, Trump, I'd rather get hit by a yellow flag in the stands than a snowball. And those are coming down now as Zendejas tries the point after. He's had a big game, Tony Zendejas, and so have the Oilers, as they have now taken command of this game 23-7. Haywood Jeffries in the end zone with his first touchdown in the NFL, and that puts the game perhaps out of reach in this weather for the Cleveland Browns. 23-7 is the count in favor of the Oilers. And the way things are developing today, the Buffalo Bills have now extended their lead over the Colts to 14-3 in the fourth quarter. The Patriots would go to Houston. So there's some whooping and hollering in Boston right now with good reason. Raymond Berry said yesterday after they lost, I'd take our situation over being out of it. We still have a chance.
It also means that Buffalo is home throughout the playoffs. They have the home field advantage.
Gerald McNeil and Glenn Young. I'll tell you, the one team that could beat Buffalo up there is New England.
I like Houston up there, too.
Well, after this performance, Glenn Young comes down the field with the ball and gets out to the 37-yard line.
Another pushing and shoving match. Very much goes in this AFC Central.
Jerry's kids mixing it up here. The AFC playoff picture. Where this one has gone, it's almost not settled after the season's over.
Buffalo and Cincinnati definitely in. Houston wins because of the loss yesterday by New England. Houston is in. Winner of the West will go to Cincinnati to play the Bengals. Cleveland will host either New England or Indianapolis. As it stands now, New England.
The Western winner is a long shot at Cincinnati. My humble opinion.
I think most people would agree with you.
Throw downfield and making the reception very nicely as he dances out of bounds is Webster Slaughter at the 49-yard line. 14-yard gain on the play. Don Strock trying to rally his team. He had them close at the end of the first half, lost the handle when he dropped, bringing his arm back and hit the shoulder pad of a teammate. Ball bounced off the ground. Up with it was Bostic, and the threat was stopped. So later in what is the doubleheader game in much of the country, The Seahawks and the Raiders at Los Angeles. Conceivably, the winner of that division could be an 8-18, but the AFC West has nothing to apologize for. 3 years ago, somebody was 11-5 in that division, didn't even make the playoffs.
Denver. Tipped.
Almost picked out by John Grimsley. Webster Slaughter had the play on the ball and lost it. And that brings up second down.
You know, Don Strock is a big quarterback and throws the ball over the top. He's had a couple of 3 balls tipped today, which have surprised me to no end. There you see Don Strock looking at his menu. Almost a Rolodex there on his arm. He needs to dial touchdown right now.
Play coming up as second down and 10 from the 48-yard line of the Oilers. Oilers 3-4 on the road this season. 6-18 on the road and over their last 24 road games. As Strock is well behind his intended receiver Webster Slaughter. Patrick Allen covering on the play, and Don Strock. Here's the displeasure cascade down as they boo him here at Cleveland Stadium.
You know, one of the things Don Strock said about this offense, as you watch this incompletion, man-to-man coverage, Allen on Slaughter, and then it's basically thrown behind Allen. But the Miami offense is very, very short. You call a play like 86X out. Here in Cleveland, it's a very complicated call because he also calls blocking schemes, and he knows that one went wild.
Big down here, third down and 10. Long ball, man is open. He makes the play. Clarence Weathers, first down, Cleveland. Clarence Weathers, that quick little receiver, running the out pattern, right on time with the ball, adjusting to it in flight for a 23-yard gain.
Domingo Bryant was the closest man in coverage, and Weathers has made some big catches today. Now keep it going. Hang on to the football somehow. Don't turn it over. That's zone coverage by Houston, which I think you're going to see a great deal of for the rest of the game. But there's going to be some holes there for Don Strock to find if he can throw it accurately.
Oilers closing in on home field in the wild card. They are 7-1 at the Dome this year at the Astrodome as Ernest Biner runs for the Browns on first down and Johnny Meads knocks him down. The Giants conceivably could be out of the playoffs today. If the Rams beat the 49ers tonight and the Eagles win, the Giants are out. Game clock shows 8 minutes and 5 seconds left. Not much for Marty Schottenheimer's ball club with this big a deficit to make up. 8 minutes left to go, and still in the third quarter. The Browns have to start getting it into the end zone. They've been there once, and it was their defense that got there. A fumble pickup and run in by Michael Dean Perry. Swing pass, Biner running hard. Backs his arm down to the 15-yard line. He might have a first down. If not, he'd be inches away on a second down play.
Biner came into this ball game as the Cleveland Browns' leading receiver. He has not had many catches today. In fact, that's his first.
Browns have talked all week. They wanted it snowy and windy and very cold, and they got their wish. But they have not performed well in it, particularly to their quarterback. And the Oilers, their first cold weather game in 3 years, have thrived in these conditions. Brock looks a little like the old Vanderoo, doesn't he? Don Meredith, he had that face mask.
He's got a can that's 5 layers deep.
Throwing a strike downfield. His 11th year from Alabama.
First catch of the day. It extends the streak.
He's made a lot of huge ones. Future Hall of Famer Ozzie Newsome of the Browns.
Well, the fans finally have something to cheer about now. They got to get this ball in the end zone for 7 points. And then you start onside kicks and blocking punts.
Well, we're still third quarter, though.
Sure.
But they haven't stopped Houston yet in the second hit. Ernest Biner's in. It's first and goal from the 3-yard line.
Tim Manoa in there too, Don.
Swing pass, Biner. He's going in. Touchdown, Cleveland. Nobody laid a glove on it.
long time between cheers here in the dog pound.
Matt Farr, who kicked for a Super Bowl winner at Pittsburgh, puts one up and through for the Browns. And they're not gone yet. Down 23-14 with 6:06 to play in the third quarter.
Houston comes with the blitz. Biner on the outside has nobody covering him.
Losing the ball 3 times on interceptions and once on a fumble. Don Strock finally hits the end zone with a touchdown throw to Biner. The return now on the subsequent kickoff, Lorenzo White, the former All-American from Michigan State, the #1 draft choice last April of the Houston Oilers, runs it back to the 24-yard line. But all of a sudden, the gusto is back in this Cleveland crowd. The Browns just had their best drive of the day, 63 yards in 8 plays, and Strock was hot from
5 of 7 on that drive for 61 yards.
NBC statistician Elliot Kalb totaling the numbers here furiously. As the Oilers align at the 24-yard line, and this Cleveland crowd is right back in this game big time. Rozier hit by Golick and driven back. Bob Golick, a 3-time Pro Bowl middle guard.
Alonzo Highsmith. And Mike Junkin a little fighting and arguing, and now the Dogs trying to take over. There's Rozier.
Started out as a linebacker. He said his de-evolution took him to nose tackle.
By the way, in case you're wondering, Mr. Golick put up the annual Christmas display in his locker this year, including trains and fake garlands and lights to the entertainment of all the Cleveland Browns. Become a Cleveland tradition here.
It has. 5:25 to go, third quarter. Oilers with the ball, second down and 10. They lead by 9. Throw and a catch to Givens, and he's away from the defender. And look at Ernest Givens go as he's all the way out to the 49-yard line of Cleveland. What a player. 25-yard gain, and the Oilers strike when they needed it badly.
Golick on Pennison, the nose tackle there, tries to put pressure. His feet slide underneath him. And Minifield misses the tackle. The pass defense of the Cleveland Browns.
Felix Wright finally got him.
Has not worked today. These fast, little, quick wide receivers of the Houston Oilers out-quicked the defensive backs of the Cleveland Browns. Time and time again, they've gotten Houston out of trouble.
Givens with 58 catches this season. Moon throws another strike. Once again, Ernest Givens is unstoppable in the secondary of the Cleveland Browns. A second-round draft choice from Louisville. He's 5'9", 175. Extraordinary athletic ability. Oilers talk about how he can dunk a basketball. Told me one day he can do anything Spud Webb can do. He was a top baseball prospect till he hooked up against Dwight Gooden of the Mets in a high school championship game in his native Florida. Dwight paid him about 4 times.
I don't think Spud Webb wants to play on a day like this outdoors. Givens now has 100 yards receiving.
Pickett, who's only 5'7", 185, but he's had a big year for the Oilers with over 500 yards rushing and 9 touchdowns. At Giant Stadium, the Giants have begun a rally. They're now down 20-14 in the fourth quarter against the Jets. The Giants could go either to a divisional championship with a win or conceivably to out of the playoffs with a loss, depending what the Rams do tonight.
Giants are the away team in that game, aren't they?
They only got 500 tickets in their home park. But the Jets also play their home games at Giant Stadium, and it was a Jet home game. 3:05 to go, third quarter. Warren Moon on second down and 9, going deep, going for the ball, but unable to get to it is Curtis Duncan, a sprinter from Northwestern.
That was close.
Moon lamenting an open man he didn't hit. He hasn't missed many.
He beat Frank Minifield.
Mike Gallagher, the young cameraman from Erie, Pennsylvania, at St. Vincent's Hospital here in Cleveland, we're happy to report is fine. Only shaken up when those 2 players crashed into him in the end zone. So Mike Gallagher's friends and family in Erie, he's ready to come back.
Maybe next week.
I think he's going to shoot again today.
Another big down here. It's been Givens all day long for Houston. Blitz.
They're down at 9. Long ball. Duncan goes for it, and Duncan loses it in the 50 inside the 15-yard line. Frank Minifield was covering 31. Felix Wright having a great year at safety for the Browns. He's been in just about every coverage they have.
Well, Don, you know what? Duncan got behind Frank Minifield. Probably their best coverage cornerback. That's twice he's beaten him deep.
Moon was kind of thrown off a back foot against the all-out blitz. He just triggered it as far as he could before it got to him. Now Greg Montgomery, the rookie from Michigan State, into punt for only the second time today. The Ice Cube. Gerald McNeil is back as Montgomery will try to place it out of bounds. 2:55 to play in the third quarter. Houston 23, Cleveland 14. Browns have to win to go to the playoffs. On the run, Gerald McNeil at 145 pounds. Takes on the big people and gets the ball to the 21-yard line. So Don Strock, who finally got hot on this cold day, the last drive, will be back on the field when we return to Cleveland. With Bob Trumpy, this is Don Crickey back at Cleveland Stadium. Look at the rushing yards. Not much happening on the ground, but elsewhere there's been big plays. The Oilers have been held to 30 yards and, 20 carries.
Those are unbelievable numbers.
But Houston leads the game 23-14.
You would certainly think on a day with this kind of weather and this kind of field that rushing would be the big deal. It has not been a factor today.
A long way to go. 2:47 remaining in the third quarter. Cleveland went 63 yards the last possession for its first touchdown from the offense. Iming Pattern. He's open and is there on the run. Flying down the field is Webster Slaughter. He's across midfield and out of bounds inside the 45-yard line of Houston. 32-yard gain.
Patrick Allen slipped and fell. Watch what happens. Allen 29. Webster Slaughter. Whoa, Allen guesses wrong. And then you see him slip. Don Strock puts it right on the money. Richard Johnson finally makes the tackle. 32-yard pickup. This is well thrown. I don't know if they gave Don Strock a dose of sunshine, some vitamin C or something. All of a sudden, he's a lot better quarterback than he was in the first half.
Development at Indianapolis. The Colts have just scored, and with 5:40 to go, they're back to within a 14-10 count of the Bills. Fontenot turns the corner and cuts upfield, where he's driven down at the 43-yard line. A first down carry, good for a gain of maybe 4 yards, as Al Smith made the stop for Houston. A reminder to our viewers that we will be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player for today's game at the conclusion of the game. 2:20 to play in the third quarter. For the Browns to get in, they must beat the Oilers. Then they would host Houston next Saturday in the AFC wildcard game. For the Colts to get in, the Browns have to lose and the Colts have to win. For the Patriots to get in, Cleveland has to lose and the Colts have to lose. Houston is in as a wild card. Second down carry, good for a gain of close to 7 yards as Herman Fontenot runs the ball.
This is a gritty second-half performance by the Cleveland Browns, Don, especially when you consider the Houston Oilers come out the opening drive and score. Cleveland scores their next time, and they're driving again.
But they have it by the nose of the ball. First down, Cleveland. You were talking, Trump, and you've played on this field many times as a Bengal. Now, even though it was not frozen at the outset of the day, with the wind and the snow, over a period of 3 or 4 hours, it can get rock solid.
Absolutely. It's like a pool table. It's like your driveway. It's like the street in front of your house. Very hard.
Ryan Brennan comes out on the near flank. First down and 10, Cleveland. Oilers call a defensive shift. They send the blitz. Here's a timing throw, and it's just off target to Derek Tennell.
Houston trying to come with a blitz. Well read by Don Strock. He goes to the audible. And then he just couldn't make the completion. Jeff Donaldson, 31, was the closest one to 81, Tunnell. You can see him faking the blitz. And as a matter of fact, 25 Bostic is up in there. Just can't get the ball out to the tight end.
There is Donaldson from Colorado. Roving free safety. Making plays all over. Second down and 10 Cleveland. Play fake to Fontenot. Swing pass. Hard thrown. Biner with good hands. Makes the catch, and he's ahead to the 29-yard line. Gain on the play of about 7. Bring up third down and 3 for Cleveland. Steve Brown, the left corner, and Robert Lyles, left outside backer on the stop. Marty Lyons sees his team slowly. Marty Schottenheimer sees his team slowly climb back into the game.
Now going with 4 wide receivers, the Cleveland Browns are. Brennan is the sure-handed receiver, but Weathers has been the guy that Don Strock has found most often today.
It's still the third quarter. Clock running, 35 seconds to play in it. Strock gets it away against the blitz. It's incomplete as Strock is hit by his main nemesis today, Domingo Bryant, who has intercepted him twice, returning one for a touchdown.
You got a tough choice here. Go for the field goal or go for the first down. Now they're going for the first down. You can see the pressure again. Domingo Bryant untouched by anybody. Strock realizes it and actually does a great job of getting the ball off. And they're going for it, or at least going to act like they're going for it, on 4th down and 3.
Watch Fontenot. They've hit Fontenot on this play earlier. He swings out of the backfield. He's the line just in front and to the right of Strock. Blitz. They came early. That might be a free play. Downfield throws to the wrong side of Clarence Weathers.
Now who's it on, offense or defense?
I think it was a blitz, a safety blitz, and he looked like he left early, Bryant. If it was a defensive foul, it'll be a first down for the Browns on the 5 yards. It was a 4th and 4 play. That's the call.
Wait a minute. Okay, I was going to say the Cleveland Browns players were indicating against Houston, but it does go against the Oilers.
You do need that striped shirt to say it also.
Yes, you do. That's when it counts.
Offside. Defense. 5 yards. First down.
An unnamed defensive player. We think Johnny Meads, the outside linebacker, coming on the blitz.
I'll tell you, it's news when Johnny Meads doesn't blitz. He blitzes almost every down. Cleveland keeps the drive alive. First down and 10. They're trailing 23-14 in the closing seconds of the third quarter. Tip ball. Oh, incomplete.
He almost caught that ball on the carom.
And it was wide open for an interception, too, on the tip.
It was intended for Derek Tunnell. Reggie Langhorne almost comes. 81 is Tunnell. Bostic 25 right there. 24 is Steve Brown, and he almost makes the catch.
Keeping Langhorne away from it.
Yeah. That was very, very close to a catch and or an interception. Webster Slaughter running the post. Don Strock is tied to the out.
16 seconds to go. Third quarter. The Browns down by 9. Trying to rally here. Pitch back on the run. Fontenot, and he is down inside the 20-yard line. Down close to the 17. Robert Lyles ran him out of bounds. No quitting these Clevelanders. They seem to be gone.
Personality of the Houston Oilers backing off a little bit here. Allowed the Cleveland Browns to get back in the game.
Pittsburgh closing out big against Miami.
Don, this is 3rd down and 6 here, but this is definitely a tough choice if they don't make this 3rd down for Schottenheimer. Do you go for it, or do you put Matt Barr in there for the field goal attempt?
4 wide receivers in the game. Third down and 6. Here's a throw. A catch. It's taken in nicely by Webster Slaughter.
That's enough
he
for a
is
first
close
down.
enough. He appears to have the first down. So on the concluding play of the third quarter, the Cleveland Browns drive on in what could be the start of an historic comeback in Cleveland. At the end of the third quarter, the score, Houston 23, Cleveland 14. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. 3-14 Houston, but the Browns are challenging as we're set to open the fourth quarter. Don Cricket with Bob Trump. I don't think Trump we're losing any viewers in the hub of the universe, Boston, Mass. where Coach Raymond Berry and his lads are standing by.
I have a feeling that they are remotely interested in the outcome of this football game. Cleveland just surpassed Houston in total yards, 255 to 252, driving again.
Don Strock now goes to the open end of the field. End off to Biner. Both arms on the ball as those Oilers come a-hitting, trying to knock it free. They have 4 takeaways from Cleveland today. 3 interceptions and a fumble.
Look how the Browns have caught up in time of possession. A big factor, the 4 turnovers. 3 interceptions and a fumble. Oilers scored the first time they came out in the second half. Cleveland responded with a score. Cleveland shut down Houston. Now Cleveland about to go in.
Not yet, though, against this Oiler defense. And here is Biner again as they completely shut it down.
Don, it looks to me like they're playing for the field goal here. Bird is down and hurt.
William Fuller appears to be down. And that's Bird, the nose tackle, who's down. And Fuller's also down. 2 Oilers are down. There's William Fuller, defensive end from North Carolina. Now it's been a rough and cold day in Cleveland, and it continues.
Today's game is brought to you by the new generation of Oldsmobile. Step into the future now at your Oldsmobile dealer. By Michelob Dry. One taste and you'll drink it dry. And by Remington, your grooming expert.
Jerry Glanville looks on as his Oilers seem to have this game locked. They might have to go through this same exercise next week in Cleveland if they can't hold them up. Free ball in the air. It's caught by a Brown down to the 2-yard line. Whereas the tip balls and the breaks were going against Cleveland in the first half. Now they're with the Browns as the snow falls in Cleveland. Herman Fontenot picked up the tip ball. And it's going to be first and goal, Cleveland.
Biner is the intended receiver. Bounces off his hands, off the shoulder pads of a Houston Oiler, just the way they design it. First and goal, Cleveland, and it just got a lot colder on the Houston Oilers sideline.
The change in emotion has been absolutely extraordinary here in Cleveland. The Browns seem to be gone, down 23-7. Now they'll be back within 2 if they take it in and kick the extra point. Here's Biner, and he's in. Touchdown, Cleveland.
Extraordinary job of blocking along the line of scrimmage. Fontenot puts Patrick Allen on his, Steve Brown on his rear end. Biner up through there. That's 2 drives in the second half, 2 touchdowns, Cleveland.
Very big extra point is spun up and good by Matt Barr. And the Cleveland Browns all of a sudden have put up 14 unanswered points, and they're back to within 2 with 13-17 to play. With the chill factor well below 0, it is electrically charged here at Cleveland Stadium with excitement as the Browns have rallied. Down 23-7. They've now come back 23-21 they trail as they kick off. And the Oilers wait for it. That's Alan Pinkett running the ball back across the 20. He breaks it. Alan Pinkett was in open field. The last man to get him got him. And that was the man who kicked off Matt Barr. And Matt Barr is down. And that is could be a critical development because this could be a field goal game. Barr saved a touchdown. It's his arm, not his leg, though.
He comes into the game with cracked ribs. They think at least 1, maybe more. He's been hurt on several situations making tackles.
We saw him against the Steelers get a serious knee injury, kept him out for a year.
Looks like the way his foot slipped out, he may have pulled a muscle of some sort. He's had knee surgery, and they need a field goal, might need a field goal. And I don't think Max Reniger kicks field goals.
Now, Warren Moon sets the offense for the Oilers and goes right up top, swings it out. That's Rozier running. And he breaks tackles and gets ahead for Houston. First down to the 49-yard line of Cleveland.
Now let's go back to that touchdown of Cleveland. Beautifully executed. Fontenot, 28, is out there in front. Does a great job blocking. Tim Manoa, 42, gets a big block. And Biner powers into the end zone to put Cleveland back in this game down by 2. But now, let's work on Matt Barr. Get him healthy. The defense has got to stop Houston here. Get the ball back in the hands of the offense as soon as possible.
Second and about a foot. Oilers go to the run, and Pinkett running hard gets ahead, and he gets 5 yards and a first down for the Oilers. The Giants, down 20-7 in a game that could have knocked them out of the playoffs, now have rallied to take the lead in the fourth quarter over the Jets. And the Giants, with a win the NFC East. With a loss, as we mentioned, the Giants could conceivably, if the Rams won tonight at San Francisco, not be in the playoffs.
The report is, Don, that Matt Barr hurt his ribs again.
He'll be back because he has to be back.
He's the only one. He may have the most important kick of this season.
That is as painful as... Now, they had a lot of offense in the first half throwing the ball, and they've gone right back to it. Warren Moon again executing well as we have an official timeout on the field. It appears the referee is coming over to talk to the replay official upstairs.
Or question somebody about the clock. They're huddling there about the 47-yard line. Glanville has seen his team let this game emotionally slip out of their hands.
Glanville, when he was a kid, told me today he snuck into the 57 Cleveland-Detroit Lions game at Tiger Stadium, NFL championship game.
Here.
No, in 57 it was in Detroit.
In 56 he came here. Yeah, there's no 30-second clock.
Cleveland and Detroit won that day 56-7.
He grew up a Detroit fan. He's from a little town called Perrysburg, Ohio.
Was that near Toledo?
Yeah, near Toledo. He was a Detroit Lions fan.
Never forget Bobby Lane threw a touchdown and a big field goal to open the scoring. Here's a swing pass. Alan Pinkett. And he darts for the 12th man and gets out of bounds. On a first down play, he got only 2. And now, while we have a moment, let's go to NFL Live in New York. Here's Bob Costas. Bob?
All right, hoping for a Cleveland loss, the Colts have rallied, trying to do their part on this 7-yard scoring pass from Hogaboom to Bentley. Hogaboom playing in place of the injured Chris Chandler, following the extra point. They take the lead on the Bills, 17-14 in the fourth.
Things are changing every moment.
Unbelievable quote. Curtain comes down this regular season. It's probably the most dramatic ending. So many games meaning so much. And here is a throw, and it's lost by Givens. And he is straightened out. Brian Washington knocks him down. Shortly, those of you in Kansas City and Seattle will be leaving us. We'll keep you informed of the game through the rest of the afternoon on NFL Live.
That ball thrown high. Givens really took a shot. You see Givens get it down, get it down. Warren Moon's numbers on a day like today, absolutely remarkable.
No turnovers by Warren Moon.
He got that one fumble, and it was not his fault, not thrown an interception.
No interceptions, I said. Yeah, he fumbled when he was hit on that free blitz shot Dave Grayson put on him. 11:27 to play. Third down and 7. Here's a throw, and is it caught? It is. What a play by Givens. A sensational play by Ernest Givens, who caught it knee-high against 2 defenders, and he gets Houston a first down.
There's a flag, though, against Houston.
Might be a holding call against the Oilers. It's an illegal motion that brings the play back. So instead of a first down, it'll be third down and about 13.
Illegal formation, number 77 offense, not up on the line of scrimmage. 5 yards, still third down.
Now, Bruce Davis, you see offensive tackles a lot of times nowadays. They sit up in the 2-point, and your shoulders must be lined up down the line of scrimmage. Davis, knowing the importance of pass protection in this particular drive, off the line of scrimmage too much.
Davis is the biggest Oiler. He weighs 333 pounds. Jerry Glanville said he was going to change his number to 747 if he got any bigger. Third down and 13. Down the middle it goes, and Drew Hill can't get to the ball. As Sam Clancy had the rush on Warren Moon, also rushing on the play was Carl Hairston. And now the Cleveland Browns will get it back on a Houston punt.
Great coverage that time by Stephen Braggs. He was right in front of the intended receiver. There he is on the sideline. He did his job. Now I think Houston has to protect against a block punt attempt here by Cleveland.
Long hit downfield.
Oh, that's
knocked out of bounds by Greg Montgomery inside the 10-yard line. We'll see where they mark the ball. As Montgomery looks downfield, and the clock shows 10 minutes and 54 seconds to play.
Out to 10, you're right. First and 90 for a trip to the playoffs for the Cleveland Browns.
The long field to go for the Browns, but they've moved it for touchdowns their last 2 possessions. And that's how it looked 38 years ago in the early days of network television coverage, black and white coverage, as we go to living color when the Cleveland Browns first came into the National Football League in 1950. The then commissioner of the NFL, Bert Bell, said first let them get a football. The Browns brought in more than that. They won a league championship their first year in the NFL. Today they're trying to rally to get into the playoffs for a 4th consecutive year. As you know, the last 2 years they've gone to within 1 game of the Super Bowl, losing to Denver. Art Modell, the president and owner of the Cleveland Browns, looking on when it seemed all was lost. Now the motion is picked up in Cleveland, as the Browns have rallied for 14 straight points, and they trail by just 2. Oiler defense digs in as the traction is poor on this frozen tundra. Strock out pattern. Biner has it, breaks 1 tackle, takes on another, and Biner is thrown out of bounds. Gain on the play of about 7 yards.
Ron, here's the story of this game. In the first half, the Cleveland Browns had no success whatsoever and trailed 16-7. They're only points by the defense. Second half, it has certainly turned around, hasn't it? Stand out there in the snow, doesn't it?
Hand off with the ball. Fontenot protecting it, and the Oilers come gang tackling, trying to punch it free. Doug Smith, big 99, a 295-pound nose tackle, was the first to make the hit. He was out here yesterday in a pair of shorts throwing snowballs. Indianapolis rallies to take a 3-point lead on the Bills. It could all be for naught if Cleveland came back to win this game. Colts need the Cleveland Browns to lose to get in. So do the Patriots. Third and short now as Strock sets in the shotgun. He needs 2. He gets it. And a catch to Langhorne. Linebacker Robert Lyles. He very nearly would have gone the distance.
Don, this performance by the Cleveland Browns in the second half has basically taken the Houston Oilers out of their defensive plan. They're not blitzing. You see them back in zone. They do not play zone well. Langhorne gets twisted around, and he knows, oh, if I break that one, I'm gone. But they got Houston now sitting back on their heels, and the clock is in their favor. Maybe the most important guy on the field is Matt Barr. How are his ribs? A field goal wins.
23-21 Oilers, but the Browns with the ball. Viner. First down carry, not for very much as he hits into the right side of the Houston defense. Matt Farr hurting but ready to go back out when needed as Grimsley and Smith combined on the tackle for the Houston Oilers. Game clock down to 8:55 and running in the fourth quarter.
Viner's limping.
Been a tough year for the Cleveland Browns. They lost their starting quarterback Bernie Kosar for 6 weeks. He came back, hurt again Monday night. He's out of this game. They lost their best runner for 9 weeks, or parts of 9 weeks, Kevin Mack, an all-pro cornerback. Hanford Dixon has not played today.
Now you got Tim Manoa in there, who has had this penchant for fumbling.
He won't get it. He'll block.
Oh, he's open.
Ball downfield, going for it, and catching it is Slaughter, and he's down to the 39-yard line. Langhorne gets it. 88 Langhorne comes down with the ball. A 26-yard gain.
Patrick Allen, the man in coverage. 29. Ball underthrown slightly. Allen not looking at it. Langhorne does. There have been some big plays by the Cleveland Browns in this half. See the little hand on the back? No call. He catches the ball. Stays inbounds. First down. Now Matt Barr's got to get up and start warming up here.
Well, there's a lot of time left. 8:33 to play. The Browns turned it over 4 times in the first half, not at all in the second half. Pitch back. Langhorne blocking and running with the ball is Fontenot. And he's ahead for a good gain. He apparently is going to be inside the 35-yard line.
Don, look at the Houston Oilers. Suddenly, Meads is down on the ground. Suddenly moving a lot slower. The defense is.
Good to see it's not his knee. Johnny Meads missed a year and a half with a reconstructed knee and has played terrifically since as they dust off the yard marker.
That's an optimistic Cleveland Municipal Stadium employee. He is dusting off the goal line. To inform the fans watching once again, if Cleveland wins, they do it again here next week.
Doubleheader day on NBC Sports. The Seahawks and the Raiders play at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. The winner wins the AFC West and goes to the playoffs. The loser is out. Also, as a second game, parts of the country will see Kansas City play the Chargers at San Diego. We'd also like to extend very best wishes and continued good health and success to the head of NBC Sports West Coast Operations Director, Phil Brown, who is retiring. Final scores: Philadelphia beat Dallas 23-7. The Jets have come back. O'Brien to Al Toon, and the Jets now lead the Giants 27-21 with 37 seconds to play.
There's Matt Barr warming up. We still have Johnny Meads down on the ground. I don't want this to be taken badly, but there are a lot of instances in professional football where players are injected for injuries with pain-numbing substances. I asked Matt Barr about, can you get your ribs shot to kick? And he said, I had a very bad experience with a reaction to one of those injections in college, and I don't even take aspirin. So whatever pain he's got because of those cracked ribs, he must endure in what might be a game-winning field goal situation.
He'll sacrifice his body for love of the Browns. 8:27 to play in the game. Houston leads 23-21. Cleveland driving. Second down. Pitch back. Fontenot cutting back somehow on this frozen field. He got only the line of scrimmage, though. Maybe he lost half a yard, and that'll bring up third down and just under 3. Free safety Jeff Donaldson was on the play for the Oilers. Runs down inside of 8 minutes as Coach Glanville looks on impassively, at least on the outside.
Don, this is certainly 2-down area here for Cleveland. 10, 20, they're at about the 32. This is definitely 2-down area.
Browns 8 of 14 on third down. 3rd and 2.
going to
Takes to
throw.
Manoah. Swings it out. Live ball very nearly picked up. Now here is a huge play. A huge play. John Grimsley tipped it. They got to go for it. On 4th down and 2, it's too long a field goal try.
It'd be like 49 yards from the spot where the ball is put down. Now, last time they were in this situation, they drew Houston offside.
4th down and 2 for the Cleveland Browns at the 32-yard line of Houston.
Viner's back in the ball game.
Might be the biggest play of the Browns season to date right now. 4th and 2 from the shotgun. Browns trailing by 2. A throw and a catch and a first down. Langhorne makes the play. Hard thrown ball, and he was popped by Donaldson and Brown. But Langhorne, slow to get up, held on to make the play. And it's first down Cleveland at the 24-yard line of Houston.
He paid the price. Little slant. Inside Steve Brown in coverage. Langhorne does a good job of handling the bump, and then Jeff Donaldson hammers him to the ground. He hangs onto the football.
What a day for Reggie Langhorne. 6 for 68, and that was the biggest of all. Now the Browns are well within Matt Farr's range. First down and 10 Cleveland. Brennan in motion. Second back, Fontenot weaves his way and gets down inside the 25 to the 22. And now, while we have a moment, back to NFL Live. Bob?
Don, here it is at the Hoosier Dome, 4th and 15, and Jeff Herrod of the Colts will sack Jim Kelly. That finishes it. The Colts win 17-14, and they're in the playoffs to play at Houston if the Browns lose this game. Meanwhile, Buffalo has blown home field advantage to Cincinnati.
Big things happening. Thank you, Bob. We have 6:34 to play here in Cleveland. Don Trickey with Bob Trumpy, as now the Cleveland Browns have second down and a long 7. Throw, open, touchdown Cleveland! Webster Slaughter. So Strock, who was almost run out of town in the first half, now becomes the toast of Cleveland, Ohio, with a line drive strike for a touchdown. This from Pastoret is one of Cleveland's greatest comebacks
Ever. With a quarterback from Florida. 12 plays. The drive started at their own 11-yard line. Justification for the drive they gave up to Denver 2 years ago.
Good point. Extra points, a knuckleball, but it's right where it had to be, between the posts. The Oilers still have a lot of time, and he'll get it back. 6:23 to play in the game, but the Oilers have to score a touchdown now as they're behind 28-23.
3 drives in the second half and 3 scores by the Cleveland Browns. Webster Slaughter runs the slant. There is very little pressure on Don Strock from behind the offense. Watch Jeff Donaldson reading his eyes. Strock looks him off, and Slaughter makes the catch. When you have a veteran quarterback like Don Strock, looking off that free safety is key. Schottenheimer knows the play. Glanville, no. And a lot of people have questioned the offensive coordinator, Marty Schottenheimer of the Browns, in the second half. No questions about his job today.
Don Strock has now gone over 300 yards passing. 23 of 39 for 303 yards, 2 touchdowns, and those 3 first-quarter interceptions. He's passed for 191 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions in the second half. 11-play drive, 81 yards.
3 possessions in the second half, 21 points. Just like that. Now this has got to be painful for Matt Barr. What a story. Don Strock.
kicks off. On the fourth or fifth hop that is picked up and on the run back, going straight ahead with the ball. Looks like Highsmith took it back. Cleveland special teams come hitting hard. Spencer Tillman was on the play.
What a change of emotion.
It back, and Hill was given field position now just across the 25-yard line.
What a change of emotion.
Seattle and the Raiders competing for the AFC Western Division Championship at the Coliseum in Los Angeles next. On many of these NBC stations. We got a long way to go now in Cleveland, though. 6:15 still to be played as the Browns have come back with 21 straight points. Down 23-7. They lead 28-23. Warren Moon swings it out. He's got Drew Hill, who's ahead for very close to first down yardage. A 1st and 10 play is good for about 9 or 10 yards. Dave Grayson, the outside linebacker, who put that blitz hit on Warren Moon that freed the ball and led to the Browns' first touchdown, was covering on the play.
Now the tough choice for Dave Adolph, the defensive coordinator of the Browns. Do you cover or do you rush? That is, do you lay off or do you try to put pressure on Warren Moon? The coverage has not been good today for the Cleveland Browns.
Warren Moon has thrown over twice as many touchdowns as he has interceptions this season. A 2-to-1 ratio, TDs, interceptions. He's the only QB in the NFL that has that, and he needs to throw in this game now as the running game is going nowhere. The Jets. Now, I would say the Jets have just scored their most important victory, the most valued victory by that franchise since they beat the Colts in the '69 Super Bowl, beating the Giants today. That's how much antipathy there is between those two teams that play at the same ball yard. They're at Giant Stadium today. The Jets get a winning season out of it, and they could conceivably have knocked the Giants out of the playoffs. They did knock them out of the divisional championship.
The Giants must now sit and watch Rams play San Francisco to know whether or not they're still in the playoffs. Back to the snow and cold of Cleveland.
Warren Moon and the Oilers with first down and 10. 5:08 to play. Moon stands in. Long ball. Man is out there, but Duncan cannot run under it. Curtis Duncan running free. He had to step on the defenders, but it was too long. Now back to NFL Live. Bob?
Bob Costas back in New York. Here's how the Jets upset the Giants. Ken O'Brien 5 yards to Al Toon with just 37 seconds left. They win 27-21. Bill Parcells and the Giants don't win the NFC East. The Eagles do. The Giants are a wild card if the Niners beat the Rams tonight, but if the Rams win, they are in and the Giants are out.
Thank you, Bob. 5:03 to go here in Cleveland. The Oilers, who led by 16, are now down by 5. Here's a throw, and is it a catch? It is not at the 49-yard line. Drew Hill made a diving play on the ball. Glanville and the Oilers are up against it now, but they are in the playoffs, Houston, before this game began, but they would have to come back here to Cleveland for the same scenario all over again.
Matter of fact, he told the players, if you lose, you're going to spend the week here. But I can stand it. You guys can't. Obviously, he was joking.
Cleveland under the lights now. This crowd was out of the game as it seemed the Browns were out of this game. Third down and 10 for the Oilers. They'll have to go on fourth down if they don't hit it here. Long ball. Jeffries can't make the play. He dove, but he was just a bit short of the play. Haywood Jeffries, who caught a touchdown pass earlier, remember, and now here's fourth down, and the Oilers are going to gamble if their defense can't hold Cleveland. 4:52 to play.
Moon realizes he just overthrows Haywood Jeffries.
Got some arm, Warren Moon.
In any weather. You realize that if Cleveland wins, 3 entrants from the AFC Central, the first time a 4-team division has sent 3 teams to the playoffs. They don't have that stiff 5th team in a lot of instances to beat up on.
Montgomery picks an errant punt downfield. Browns will get fairly good field position out of that, and the Oiler defense comes out. They get the ball back. To 23, the Cleveland Browns lead it. If they can mount a drive here, they could put this game away and have home field in the wild card. And I think from what we said before probably holds true. This has to be one of their greatest comebacks in a storied franchise's history.
Yes, Don, especially with the manner in which the Cleveland Browns have played in 1988. With all the injuries they've had, with the problems that Marty Schottenheimer has had, with the supposed rift between the offensive line and Bernie Kosar. If they win today, it cures a lot of ills in 1988.
Snow-covered field, and the Cleveland Browns with Don Strock at quarterback go to run the clock now, and the Oilers come hunting the ball. Childress, the Pro Bowl defensive end, puts a hard hit on it. Bird, who was not supposed to return to the game, is right back in there, and he was in on the tackle also.
Houston takes a timeout.
I don't know if Coach Glanville's frozen now or what. It's not hard to do in this case.
No, the man in black is
ready.
fine.
He's all right. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Cleveland Browns and the National Football League is prohibited. This game is the property of the National Football League, of the Houston Oilers and the Cleveland Browns. All rights are reserved.
I think the Houston Oilers' chances to get this ball back and win is going to rest on an attempted punt block. I think Marty Schottenheimer is telling Don Strock, we take no chances here. Of course, Biner last year fumbled the ball in the AFC Championship game against Denver out at Mile High Stadium, and he's basically the back that's going to get it. But protect that football. Don't turn it over and try to get the punt off.
Second down and 11 for Don Strock and the Cleveland Browns, who lead 28-23. Throwing a catch. Biner stays in bounds. Didn't get much, though, and third down comes up. 4:30 to play.
Bernie's in it again the game. He's got his rally cap on. He doesn't need those sunglasses today hanging around his neck.
The lights have been on since before the game.
You can tell the little limp in his gait just by looking at his shoulders. He's wearing a big Lennox Hill knee brace to protect it. And knowing Bernie Kosar, this is a game he'd love to be in.
You'd think Don Strock would have had to leave the stadium in this town with a police escort after throwing interceptions on the first 3 drives. Now he's come back to be the hero. Here's another strike by Strock. And again, he goes to Webster Slaughter. Their last combination, you remember, was in the end zone for the go-ahead touchdown.
This is an unbelievable performance by Don Strock. 18 yards on the catch. And whatever he said to himself, or somebody said to him at halftime, he has done the job. 12 weeks here in Cleveland after 14 years in Miami.
.38-year-old Don Strock, shades of George Blanda, coming back on this day for the injured Bernie Kosar, and rallying his team in a game they have to win. The whole season for Cleveland came down to one game, and that's this one. They have to win it to get in. And now we're going to go back to Bob Costas at NFL Live with another update. Bob?
Don, after your game is finished in Cleveland, most of your viewers will see the Seahawks and Raiders battle for the title in the AFC West. It's tied now at 7 after David Craig threw this 35-yarder. The future Hall of Famer Steve Largent even up at 7 late in the first quarter at the Coliseum in L.A. Take a deep breath, go back to work.
Thank you, Bob. Interesting development there, 7-7. The Raiders and the Seahawks playing for the AFC West title. Look at those numbers after those 3 interceptions in the first quarter. Penalty markers go down on a 2nd down and 8 play, and the game clock's down to 3 minutes remaining.
Don, what makes it even more remarkable about Don Strock is his last start was in 1983. He's played 14 years and started a total of 20 games.
And he had that Just that one start as a Cleveland Brown against the Eagles in October, and that was a win.
You mentioned George Blanda. How about, does this remind you more of Earl Morrall?
Well, he played behind Earl Morrall, believe it or not, at one time in his career. He was behind Bob Greasy, behind Earl Morrall, behind David Woodley, and behind, of course, Dan Marino, who credits Strock with his greatness, or a lot of it, getting good so fast. Look at those Oilers hit. Bostic comes up and sticks, and so does Grimsley, 59, and the Oilers now call for a timeout with 2:38 to play. Third down and 3 comes up.
It is very cold on Houston's side of the ball right now. Very cold. Jerry Glanville's going to see his footprints in the snow next week here.
They are going back to Houston for the week. And if somehow the Oilers can pull it out, they'll go back to Houston to host the wild card game.
I think you take your chances here. Third down, I still say it may come down to an attempted block punt by Houston for their only chance to get back in the game, and warm weather sights when this game ends at the Coliseum, at Jack Murphy Stadium.
The Colts rallied from a 14-3 deficit to beat the Bills and knock Buffalo out of home field. Cincy would have it if they win their first playoff game. The Jets could have conceivably knocked the Giants out of the playoff. They surely knocked them out of a chance to win a divisional title. The Eagles win the NFC East with their win at Dallas. Seattle now scoring to go out in front of the Raiders 14-7. The Seahawks would go in as AFC Western champion, or the Raiders would, depending on who takes that. And that'll be the doubleheader game most of you will see when we conclude here. On third down and a long 3, the Browns drive on and get a first down.
Houston has one timeout left. They are taking it.
They'll get another at the 2-minute warning.
I think these Houston Oilers sitting here in disbelief.
The Browns have beaten the Oilers 7 of the last 9 times they've played. The Houston Regulars have not won here in Cleveland, where they play every season, since 1981. And they seem to have this game locked. Houston building up a 23-7 lead. And then came the Browns' onslaught as Don Strock, after that awful start, played some of the greatest football of his 15-year career, maybe the greatest.
Don, maybe the worst thing that happened to Houston is that in football games they have a halftime. You go in, you get warm, have a cup of soup, cup of coffee, warm up a little bit, come back out, and even though they scored on the opening drive of the second half, this has been a real character check for the Cleveland Browns.
That would be a 12:30 Eastern Time start, with NFL Live beginning at 12 on NBC Sports. Houston will be at Cleveland next week for the AFC wild card game if the Oilers don't get the ball back and come back and win. But right now the Browns in command. That big Santa was up here. He's getting set for his mission very shortly. Before the game, Trump said he's been here the last 8 years in the last regular season game, and every time the Browns have won. Santa's also an Oiler fan. Jim Parker. Al Smith makes the stop, as only now the 2-minute warning can stop the clock. The Oilers are out of timeouts.
What a turnaround. What a comeback. Grab your thesaurus for this performance in the second half. All the adjectives you can lay in a row.
2 minutes to play. The Browns that far away from making the playoffs for a 4th straight year. And Don Strock is the toast of Cleveland. With Bob Trumpy, this is Don Crickey back at Cleveland Stadium, where the Browns have now one of the great comebacks in their history. Down 23-7 in the game they had to win. They've rallied now for 21 unanswered points to lead the game 28-23 over Houston. And so it sets up the AFC wild card match. The next meeting will be the same as the last. Houston at Cleveland, unless somehow the Oilers are able to get the ball back and score a touchdown. 2 minutes to play. Houston's out of timeouts. Double tight end. Browns are going to run it. Fontenot gets the ball down on a second down carry for a loss of maybe a yard, but they're not concerned now with yardage as much as they are with using all the time they have.
This is
Don Strock day.
Yeah, not for the Cleveland Browns, but for any team in the NFL to be as embarrassed as they were in the first half and then allow a score on the first drive of the second half and then come back to take a lead and be in a position to win this game. Unbelievable. He's got to be the most valuable player.
Back to the run again, down to 1:09 to go, and the Oilers powerless to stop the clock. Now it's time for the Most Valuable Player Award, sponsored by Budweiser. Today's MVP, Don Strock of the Cleveland Browns. Budweiser will make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of all the MVPs selected in today's games. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Michael Weissman. The coordinating producer and director of today's game, Ted Nathanson. The producer of today's game, Larry Cirillo. The coordinating producer of NFL Live is John J. Filippelli. NFL Live produced by Tommy Roy and Ricky Diamond, directed by Bucky Gunts. Technical directors Lenny Stucker and Dick Sansevier. As the ball is off the fingertips of Langhorne, who's made a lot of big plays today for the Cleveland Browns.
So Houston's going to get the ball back here, Don, with 20 seconds to go. Look at those numbers by Don Strock. Just his second 300-yard passing performance ever in a snowstorm.
Our NBC statistician Elliot Cal pointing out in the second half that Don Strock has completed 16 of 22 passes for 212 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And the Houston numbers are good, too.
Moon was terrific.
Now, of course, the Cleveland advantage here is they'll have defensive backs so deep because they need a touchdown to score. They'll give them the yardage in front.
Drop back and let her rip. And here he goes against the rush. He swings it out. Alan Pinkett running in the open field. Sprints to the sideline. So Pinkett getting a lot of action, the third year back from Notre Dame. But it's got to be a hit into the end zone, and only 12 seconds remain.
What is the weather forecast for next Sunday in Cleveland?
How about on Saturday?
Excuse me, on Saturday.
I think we're looking at the forecast. Live preview.
Coming up here once to play in this cold weather, Houston didn't care for. Coming up here twice. Not something they're interested in, but that's their fate.
Maybe 2 plays left for the Oilers. No timeouts. Moon sidesteps. Fires. He makes a connection, but that could be it. 3, 2. The Oilers can't stop the clock. And the Cleveland Browns come back to win. Schottenheimer. He said emotion would turn the game, but emotion was gone from his team after those 3 first-quarter interceptions of his QB, Don Strock. They'll be tough to beat next week. And that will do it from Cleveland on a great day for the Browns. A bitter disappointment and bitter cold for the Oilers, but they both come back to play again here next Saturday. Now for Bob Trumpy. This is Don Criqui. The final score, the Cleveland Browns 28, the Houston Oilers 23. Now stay tuned for the second half of today's doubleheader. Either Seattle at the LA Raiders